That may not work.
I don't know.
I don't know. It looks really bright.
Well, I'm trying to be able to see. Oh, that's hot. Hi. Okay. So obviously I'm trying a light. And hopefully we're live. Hopefully, I don't know.
No, we are live.
Yeah, we are live. Go through the housekeeping. Trying to find us, and trying to do all that kind of stuff, making sure it's working, and yada, yada, yada.
The beginning of the video is always the same.
Yes. Well, you got to make sure everything's working, right? And you got to like the video. So I go over here and like the video. I can even start saying hello in the live chat.
You could. Hello and welcome. Oh, we got a like already, but no watchers.
That was me. Hello and welcome. See, I did that. Oh, there's one. Actually, it doesn't look bad on here. So my belly is a little bright, but that's okay.
Do I need to put some shades on?
No. No. So let's start with some. I feel like I'm like really high up on the screen too. But let's start with farm news. So this week has been a lot of late nights, starting with Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Amy and I were both off farm on Tuesday night. We actually traveled
Tuesday day
and night.
So we met up with somebody who wanted to donate something for the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole mess of fabric, and it was so much that she didn't want to mail it. So we ended up kind of like meeting halfway. So that was part of the drive.
Right. So, and since we were heading south so far, we decided to continue the drive to go see our uncle, and visit with him for a little bit. So we drove down there, talked to him for a while, and then drove back. So Tuesday we got home. It was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, work and farm stuff continues the next day. Wednesday was kind of normal right up until the middle of Bible study on Wednesday.
Then my son says, "Hey, I'm in the area. Can I drop in?" So he drops in at 11:15,
Mm-hmm.
and
so that was another late night.
Yeah.
And actually we didn't start eating dinner until about 10 o'clock that night because having to get things prepared. Yeah, that was a lot of driving. Yeah.
It was, but
it was good.
He really appreciated it.
Yeah, it was.
He hasn't seen family in a while.
So that was Wednesday night. Then Thursday was another late night because one of our rams, Grayson, got sick.
He didn't get sick.
No, he choked on something on Thursday.
Yeah, he
so
he wasn't sick. He choked.
So he was not doing well on Thursday. And so it was a late night sitting with him and dealing with him. It was like it started when I went to move his paddock, him and Phil. And so Dick Grayson, Phil Colson, that's the Rams' names. And went to move them. And by the time I got down to their paddock, he did not want to come out of his paddock. He was just standing there, wasn't acting right. And so I ended up moving Phil, brought Phil up. Got Amy and said that, Grayson wasn't acting right. So we went back down. And by the time we got down there, he was kind of like throwing himself on the ground. He must have ate an acorn or something.
Well, it got stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, they can eat acorns, but something
got stuck,
lodged in his esophagus, and that's a bad thing for a sheep.
Yeah. So we did everything we could. Thursday, he actually got to a point where he was standing up and walking around and kind of trying to figure out life, because we ended up moving him from the paddock in the back of the side-by-side up to the barn into the nursery area. So we moved him up, and I was probably out with him on and off until about probably till about 1:00 that morning.
Then Phil kept bleeding.
Uh-huh.
He was worried about his buddy, so he just none of us slept really
And
well.
that's right by the bedroom, as we all know. So that, and then Friday, normal day, dealing with him on and off, as taking care of all the farm stuff, trying to get everything all wrapped up by sundown on Friday, and then he was shaking. You know when you have the fever shakes, so he was doing that, and then we did go out dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Was very distracted while dancing, so we didn't dance a whole lot, and I'm sorry. I would have liked to dance more too, but still had a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to a bunch of people. Actually got asked by another couple to dance, which was pretty cool because they're kind of like us. They don't like to break up their coupleness, so they approached us to dance, and it was pretty neat.
It was fun.
Good time as always, but that was a late night because we stayed until closing to help with breakdown and everything, because we are actually helping run the dance next month.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who run the dance aren't going to be there, and so we got home late, and when we did get home, went out to check on Grayson, and he had passed. So Grayson passed while we were gone away. So when we got home, it was like 11 o'clock. So by 11:30, we were processing Grayson. So that was about 1:30 by the time we were done.
And I want to add, we processed him because, one, we knew he wasn't sick.
Mhm.
Two, I mean, we knew exactly what the problem was. But if it was we didn't give him any antibiotics, anything weird, nothing like that.
No.
And this animal is just for our own use.
Yes.
If we would not barter, we would not trade this one. This was just kind of an experiment too, because we're processing his meat different as well.
And we kind of came under fire not too long ago because of the way we live in our practices. But what people don't understand is how much we do love these animals. I mean, it's so much more than just raising meat for the table. Being a shepherd is a lot different than, I'd say, being, and I don't want to downplay anything, than being just being a farmer, and just raising meat to raise meat. These animals you build a bond with and you make a connection with as they grow, and they learn you and you learn them. I mean, I could go out there, I could tell each and every one of their bleats just by the sound they make. You learn that. And then having to carry this animal off the mountain, literally, and then having to carry him into the side-by-side and sitting with them, and we did everything we can within limits. We didn't
call the vet.
We weren't going to call a vet. We weren't going to
fill him with all kinds of
drugs and antibiotics.
We just kept him comfortable. We gave him water, baking soda, probiotics,
vitamins, probiotics, milk,
vitamin B, milk.
So we did everything within our realm of being able to do things, and the Lord decided that was that animal's time.
Tears were shed.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of...
It's not easy.
No. And processing in the dark was a new thing for me. And then I'm emotional on top of that for a lot of reasons. Lots going on. Lots of good, lots of tough.
Yes, lots of challenges.
And then with all the lack of sleep built up, I just kind of got to a point where I don't know if you even wanted to be around. Well, I was tired. But then Saturday, we were supposed to go to, it was supposed to be a fun event over in Spring Creek. There's the car show and the pie contest.
Yes.
And Friday afternoon, I had already started making a shepherd's pie because I wanted to enter the pie contest. But Saturday,
savory and sweet.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was going to do an apple pie and a shepherd's pie, but then it got so busy and stuff. I'm like, okay, let me just dial it back to shepherd's pie. Well, Saturday morning came And both of us felt like we were run over by trucks. And we were like, you know what? We just need to take the Sabbath. And we did. I actually took a nap.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we were able to, you know, take the rest day, you know, I ended up spending the most of the morning with the goats. The goats didn't want to stay in.
The goats and Phil. So Phil needs a friend. It's not good for sheep to be alone. So he's in a paddock right next to one sibling and then a bunch of other
his girlfriends.
His girlfriend. He's supposed to see them in January, not now. So long story short, he ended up crawling under the fence and went to go see his girlfriends. And we're like, this can't happen
Crawled
yet.
Under 2 fences, yeah, his and theirs.
So we fought with that for a while, and then we fought with the goats for a bit, and finally everybody calmed down enough. And I told Ken, you know what? I'm going to go take a nap. And I did.
She took a nap. I made another half a pot of coffee, and I went out and sat on our picnic table and just enjoyed the sun and had my feet on the ground and just sat there and just relaxed, listened to my Bible app, and just kind of.
By that afternoon, I was feeling better mentally, physically, but it had been a lot.
Yeah. So Saturday night, I fell asleep on the chair.
I actually had energy, since the sun went down. I was like, okay, now I can put the laundry away. So I start putting the laundry away. I don't know what anybody else does, but I just take the clean laundry, dump it on the bed, and go from there. But he ended up taking the laundry, and he's like, I'm going to bed.
Yep.
Okay.
Reached a point, I fell asleep on the chair. I said, I'm done. I went in. I started putting the stuff away that she had folded. And she kept on saying, you don't have to do that. I said, yeah, I do. Because I'm going to bed. So
later, I have to finish the rest of the laundry.
That'll probably be another day because we actually have to finish processing the meat tonight.
Yes, that's true. Well, it's a process. It just needs to be vacuum sealed and
put up.
Yep.
And today we sealed up the pole barn where we had a leak.
And we forgot to get content, but
got pictures.
But I did get pictures.
Close enough. And put pokies out where some of the chickens were roosting.
The chickens are roosting way up top, and I don't mind them roosting there, but the problem is they're laying their eggs there, they're dropping, and then they're eating their eggs. So we're still having an issue with egg eaters out there. So I put their little metal pokey things, so when they jump up there, it doesn't feel so good. We'll see what happens.
Yep. That's about everything.
This week upcoming is the 1-year anniversary of Helene coming through. So that's a bit emotional too. We're going to be at the Hot Springs Resort with our ministry tent, telling people about what we're doing, how the year's been.
Hopefully the goats will behave.
We'll process them. Does anybody want any goats? I know. That goes. Sorry.
And we actually got a phone call. Was it this? It was this Tuesday, wasn't it? When we were driving down to see Uncle Greg. From Eddie.
Oh, yes. With all the stuff that's going on, a really big blessing is that we received the grant to get our road fixed. So hopefully in about 2 to 3 weeks, our road will start looking and driving much better. I mean, we've got ruts in our road that, it doesn't even fill the screen. Some of them are 2 feet deep, getting worse. So, yeah, I broke down on that one. And then we had another donation this week that I broke down about, but God's been very, very good, and brings us to the absolute
Brink.
Yeah. I mean, Bible study Wednesday night, I was crying. But
Yep.
And Jimmy was like, sometimes he brings you right to the brink just to make sure you're right where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
It is. So yeah, that's the week in review.
Wow, that was a lot of week in review. Usually it's 5 minutes. This one was 15.
Yeah. But we are going to continue in Daniel. We are picking up at chapter 4. And we will see how far we get.
I just closed it and I didn't.
You didn't have your.
No, I did not.
In the right spot. There really aren't too many breaks in these readings, Mama. So when you're ready to pass it over, just go ahead and pass it over.
I'll go to 18 because there's a break there. Or did we already do 4?
No. No, we ended up with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So we'll start at 4. No, we are in 4. See?
Okay, well, and I read ahead a little bit, so
because the first break so 18. Yep, I see it now.
I remember the dream part, but
Yep.
I guess that was just me reading.
Or on to the second dream.
Okay. Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a tree. King Nebuchadnezzar, to the peoples, nations, and men of every language who live in all the world, may you prosper greatly. It is my pleasure to tell you about miraculous signs and wonders that the Most High God has performed for me. How great are his signs, how mighty his wonders. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom. His dominion endures from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at home in my palace, contented and prosperous. I had a dream that made me afraid. As I was lying in my bed, the images and visions that passed through my mind terrified me. So I commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be brought before me to interpret the dream for me. But when the magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and diviners came, I told them about the dream, but they could not interpret it for me. Finally, Daniel came to my presence, and I told him the dream. He is called Belshazzar, after the name of my God, and the spirit of the holy God is in him. I just like Daniel. I said
to him, Belshazzar.
I think it's funny because our preacher this morning, I'm just going to put this in real quick. He actually had another sheet next to him because he was reading through some scripture and he had names. Usually I'm the one that always gets the names. He had it written down on the side how to do the pronunciation. So yes. I laughed and I was like, I totally get what you're saying. Okay. I said,
Belshazzar, of
the magicians, know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no mystery is too difficult for you. Here is my dream. Interpret it for me. These are the visions I saw while lying in my bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its top touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, its fruit abundant, and on it was food for all. Under it, beasts of the field found shelter, and the birds of the air lived in its branches. From it, every creature was fed. In the visions I saw while lying in my bed, I looked, and there before me was a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven. He called out in a loud voice, "Cut down the tree and trim off its branches. Strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals feed from under it and the birds from its branches. But let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. Let him be drenched with the dew of the heaven, and let him live with the animals among the plants of the earth. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let him be given the mind of an animal until 7 times pass by for him. The decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over the kingdoms of men and gives them to anyone he wishes and sets over them the lowliest of men. This is the dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now, Belshazzar, tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can interpret it for me, but you can, because this is the spirit of the holy gods is in you.
Then Daniel.
It's just not fair.
Also called Belshazzar, was greatly perplexed for a time, and his thoughts terrified him. So the king said, Belshazzar, do not let the dream or its meaning alarm you. Belshazzar answered, my lord, if only the dream applied to your enemies and its meaning to your adversaries. The tree you saw, which grew large and strong, with its top touching the sky, visible to the whole earth, with beautiful leaves and abundant fruit, providing food for all, giving shelter to the beasts of the field, and having nesting places in its branches for the birds of the air. You, O king, are that tree. You have become great and strong. Your greatness has grown until it reaches the sky, and your dominion exceeds to distant parts of the earth. You, O king, saw a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump bound with iron and bronze in the grass of the field, while its roots remain in the ground. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him live like the wild animal until 7 times has passed by for him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree the Most High has issued against my lord, the king. You will be driven away from people and will live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like cattle and be drenched with the dew of heaven. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over the kingdom of men and gives them to anyone he wishes. The command to leave the stump of the tree with its roots means that your kingdom will be restored to you when you acknowledge that heaven rules. Therefore, O king, be pleased to accept my advice. Renounce your sins by doing what is right, and your wickedness by being kind to the oppressed. It may be that then your prosperity will continue.
All this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, as the king was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon, he said, is not this great Babylon I have built as the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty? Wow. The words were still on his lips when a voice came from heaven. This is what is decreed for you, King Nebuchadnezzar. Your royal authority has been taken away from you. You will be driven away from people, and you will live with the wild animals, and you will eat grass like cattle. 7 times will pass for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over kingdoms of men and gives them to anyone he wishes. Immediately, what had been said about Nebuchadnezzar was fulfilled. He was driven away from people and ate grass like cattle. His body was drenched with the dew of heaven until his hair grew like the feathers of an eagle and his nails like the claws of a bird. At the end of that time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes towards heaven, and my sanity was restored. Then I praised the Most High, honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is an eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with the powers of heaven and the peoples of the earth. No one can hold back his hand and say to him, what have you done? At the same time that my sanity was restored, my honor and splendor were returned to me for the glory of my kingdom. My advisors and nobles sought me out, and I was restored to my throne and became even greater than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right, and all his ways are just, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble.
Chapter 5. King Belshazzar, that's a different one, gave a great banquet for 1,000 of his nobles, and drank wine with them. Well, while Belshazzar was drinking his wine, he gave orders to bring in the gold and silver goblets that Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem, so that the king and his nobles, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. So they brought in the gold goblets that had been taken from the temple of God in Jerusalem, and the king and his nobles, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. As they drank the wine, they praised the gods of gold and silver, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone. Suddenly, sorry, this one, yeah. Suddenly, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall near the lampstand in the royal palace. Just gives me the goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
The king watched the hand as it wrote. His face turned pale, and he was so frightened that his knees knocked together and his legs gave way. The king called out for the enchanters, astrologers, and diviners to be brought, and said to these wise men of Babylon, "Whosoever reads this writing and tells me what it means will be clothed in purple and have a gold chain placed around his neck. And he will be made the third highest ruler in the kingdom." Then all the king's wise men came in, but they could not read the writing or tell the king what it meant. So King Belshazzar became even more terrified, and his face grew more pale. His nobles were baffled. The queen, hearing the voices of the king and his nobles, came into the banquet hall. "O king, live forever," she said. "Don't be alarmed. Don't look so pale. There is a man in your kingdom who has the spirit of the holy gods in him. In the time of your father, he was found to have insights and intelligence and wisdom like that of the gods. King Nebuchadnezzar, your father the king, I say, appointed him chief of the magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and diviners. This man Daniel, who the king called Belteshazzar, was found to have a keen mind and knowledge and understanding, and also the ability to interpret dreams, explain riddles, and solve difficult problems. Call for Daniel, and he will tell you what the writing means." So Daniel was brought before the king, and the king said to him, "Are you Daniel, one of the exiles my father, the king, brought from Judah? I have heard that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that you have insight, intelligence, and outstanding wisdom. The wise men and enchanters were brought before me to read this writing and tell me what it means, but they could not explain it. Now I have heard that you are able to give interpretations and to solve difficult problems. If you can read this writing and tell me what it means, you will be clothed in purple and have a gold chain placed around your neck, and you will be made the third highest ruler in the kingdom." Then Daniel answered the king, "You may keep your gifts for yourself and give your rewards to someone else. Nevertheless, I will read the writing for the king and tell him what it means. O king, the most high God gave your father Nebuchadnezzar sovereignty and greatness and glory and splendor. Because of the high position he gave them, all the peoples and nations and men of every language dreaded and feared him. Those the king wanted to put to death, he put to death. Those he wanted to spare, he spared. Those he wanted to promote, he promoted. And those he wanted to humble, he humbled. But when his heart became arrogant and hardened with pride, he was deposed from his royal throne and stripped of his glory. He was driven away from people and given the mind of an animal. He lived with the wild donkeys and ate grass like cattle, and his body was drenched with the dew of heaven, until he acknowledged that the Most High God is sovereign over the kingdom of men, and sets over them anyone he wishes. But you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled yourself. Though you knew all this, instead, you have set yourself up against the Lord of heaven. You had the goblets from his temple brought to you, and you and your nobles and your wives and your concubines drank wine from them. You praised the gods of silver and gold, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand. But you did not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all your ways. Therefore he set the hand that wrote the inscription. This is the inscription that was written. Many, many tekel parson. This is what these words mean. Many, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then, at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was clothed in purple, a gold chain was placed around his neck, and he was proclaimed the third highest ruler in the kingdom. That very night, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. Yeah, I read that whole one.
You did.
Now you're going to continue with 6.
Am I? Okay.
Yes.
31 minutes. Daniel in the den of lions. It pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule. Sorry, it's on 2 different lines. To rule throughout a kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one whom was Daniel. The satraps were made accountable to them so that the king might not suffer loss. Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set over him the whole kingdom. At this, the administrators and satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Finally, these men said, "We will never find any basis for charges against this man, Daniel, unless he has something to do with the law of his God." So the administrators and the satraps went as a group to the king and said, "O King Darius, live forever. The royal administrators, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed that the king should issue an edict and enforce the decree that anyone who prays to any god or man during the next 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be thrown into the lion's den. Now, O king, issue the decree and put it in writing so that it cannot be altered, in accordance with the laws of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be repealed." So King Darius put the decree in writing. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to God, just as he had done before. Then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and spoke to him about his royal decree. "Did you not publish a decree during the next 30 days that anyone who prays to God or man except you, O king, would be thrown into the lion's den?" The king answered, "The decree stands in accordance with the laws of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be repealed." Then they said to the king, "Daniel is one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, O king, or to the decree you put in writing. He still prays 3 times a day." When the king heard this, he was greatly distressed. He was determined to rescue Daniel, and it made every effort until sundown to save him. Then the men went as a group to the king and said to him, "Remember, O king, that according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, no decree or edict that the king issues can be changed." So the king gave it the order and brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve, continually rescue you." A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation might not be changed. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Daniel answered, "O king, live."
Sorry. What? Sorry.
That's an Easter one.
That's an Easter joke.
Daniel answered, "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done anything wrong before you, O king." The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. At the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought in and thrown into the lion's den, along with their wives and children. And before they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all of their bones.
Because they hadn't eaten anything.
Then King Darius wrote to the peoples, the nations, and men of every language throughout the land, "May you prosper greatly. I issue a decree that every part of my kingdom people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed, his dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian.
You need to respond a little bit.
No, I've been busy reading.
I know.
Oh, yes, I know. Oh, no, what we gonna do? The king likes Daniel more than me and you. I just see him.
Yeah, see, I don't. That's again.
I think I was a little off tune, but I haven't heard it in like 20 years, so.
Again, that'll be a you thing, not a me thing.
I love VeggieTales.
Yeah, I was.
Maybe I can find an episode tonight, and I can tell you what, we can do that tonight. We can watch Daniel in the Lion's Den at VeggieTales.
I doubt it.
I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
I'm sure it is too.
They're on YouTube. You're in luck.
Maybe we could do that while we're taking care of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do that.
Thanks. I think that's about everything. Going for a little over 30 minutes now, so we don't want to keep everybody too late. And again, any prayer requests, leave them in the comments below. Reach out to us. If you'd like to support the people in this area, and if you want to buy somebody, a nice chicken or anything like that, a dozen eggs, let us know. We have links down below that you could send some funds through, and you would make sure that the chickens and the whatever else gets distributed.
Mm-hmm.
We give it away anyways.
We do. Even most of the stuff on our Amazon wish list is for a shared space down the hill in the laundry room. It's just like basic needs for the people who live here, just to take a little bit of pressure off, what they have going on.
Yes.
But yeah, anything that you all do helps a lot.
Especially your prayers.
Yes.
Keep us in your prayers. We'll definitely keep you all in our prayers. Hopefully we won't be traveling at all this week.
I really don't want to.
But again, Saturday we'll be off site. We'll be down at the Hot Springs Spa at the memorial event. I forget what it's called, but we will be there with our table and stuff. We've got some stuff to give away.
Mm-hmm. Possibly a raffle.
Possibly a raffle. But,
yeah, we need to talk about that a little more. But yes, possibly a raffle.
I think that's about it.
Okay.
We're going to wrap it up, get some more work done. So hopefully we can get to bed at a reasonable time and pick it up where we left off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next week, Daniel chapter 7.
Yep.
And on that note, we'll say goodnight. Y'all take care.
Good night.